Hello, I'm Dustin Truex and my partner is Brian Kaes. Today we're going to be going over trench excavation retention systems. Let's get right into it. First off, trench excavation retention systems are different ways and methods used to secure and protect a trench from cave-ins or having them collapse on workers or our material that is being constructed. We use it because we want to stabilize our soil, keep our workers safe, and also follow rules and regulations with our local jurisdiction. Um, yeah, like I said, we want to keep our workers safe. We want to make sure we're using the right systems in the right area, doing the best we can to make sure our job site is staying safe and everybody's working effectively and productively. Um, you're going to want to check your rules and regulations on depending on where you're at in the country or in the world. You might have some different requirements you might have to meet to effectively protect your trench or your opening. Speed Shoring is a really cool company. They're the leading industry leading corporation for trench retention systems. They do a great job of offering a variety of different systems from boxes, speed shoring, trench boxes, slide rail systems. They kind of do it all. They got a lot of different stuff out there, and they have a great reputation from workers and OSHA. They're very safe, they're effective, and they work really well. I guess they're also very easy to install and dismantle. In these pictures, as you can see in the bottom left, that is a hydraulic pump that is used to pump hydraulic fluid into a shield, like you see on the far right. That is a shield right there. That's a hydraulic shield. So the pump pumps hydraulic fluid and pushes those two walls out to keep that soil from caving in on itself and collapsing into the trench. In the middle, that's just a fixed shield. So shields either come fixed or hydraulic. So that one's a fixed one, so it just has a fixed place. They can pick it up, move it where they want. Hydraulic one, has some adjustability to it. You can do different things with it. They're really nice, but they also are more expensive, as you can imagine. All right, moving on. Trench shoring and trench boxes. What's the difference? Well, trench shoring is more of a, I want to say, stationary, temporary structure, but it's there longer than a trench box in most cases. Trench shoring totally prevents a cave in from happening, while a trench box will keep a worker safe if a cave in does occur. So shoring won't let a cave in happen. Trench boxes just is that extra, line of defense for the worker in case a cave in or a collapser did come up. They're used in many different situations. A lot of utility work. They're used for a lot of utility work, embankments, retaining walls, foundations. They can be used in a lot of different ways. They're very universal, and they're primarily made out of steel and aluminum. However, there are some wood varieties of some, but they have to be shoring rated. You can't just use some random piece of OSB. They got to be shoring rated. Like I said, they both protect from cave-ins, but trench shoring will disallow that from ever happening, while a trench box, it could happen, but it's going to keep the worker safe. Another thing you're going to want to look at if you ever are getting these for your project or you're ordering them, you're going to want to look at the depth rating. Every manufacturer comes with a depth rating, and just how we learned in class, as the further we go down in the soil and get further down in the trench, there's going to be all that weight pushing from the top down at the bottom of these shields and these boxes. So you got to look at the depth rating to make sure your shield can withstand that amount of weight pushing down at the bottom of your box. So that's just something to keep in mind. Check out your depth ratings, look at the different systems, see what's going to be most beneficial to your project. Slide rail systems, these are really cool and very effective. They're a vertical trench support system, so they start from the top and work their way down. They first put these big pillars, you can see them in here, they're blue, but they drive them down. Once they're driven down, they start inserting yellow panels. Those yellow panels you can see, they start putting those in, and just keep digging down and working their way down until they meet their desired area. After they get a little ways down, they can put cross bracing in and make it a little stronger. These are great for different scenarios, like working in a confined work site where you got a building right next to you, you got to put a foundation or something right there. These will allow you to support that load right next to that building without, taking soil out or compromising the strength and structural support of that other building. It also reduces the size of excavation just because you're digging straight down into the hole. You don't have to, do a slope or anything. So it does reduce the size of excavation. It can be expensive. However, they do save time and they do a great job of, just getting you that depth you need. They're used for commercial buildings, commercial projects like this. They looks like they're putting gas tanks down there. And yeah, a lot of utility work with these, but these are the three top companies I could find: ProTech, Trent Shoring, and GME. Speedshore does do some slide rail systems, but these are the top three that I found and that people like the most. Here now we're going to watch a video example of a slide rail system being put together, and you guys will be able to see kind of the process of this. I'll speed it up a little bit so we're not here forever. So as you can see, they're starting excavation, and then here soon they'll probably start putting their piles down. There they are. You can see the blue ones. So they insert those, and then they just kind of work their way around the perimeter. There they add a cross bracing just to keep that soil from pushing back in. And it looks like they got a pretty small crew. So, I mean, these things, they do go pretty quick if, you got the labor power, the labor force, but they're very useful, and they do a great job of what they're designed to do. We'll skip over a little bit. So as you can see, they're ways down there now. Got their safety fence up. That's good. Got their stockpile covered. That's good. So yeah, now we're going to turn it over to Brian. He's going to go over the equipment we use on these different methods, the pros and cons of each method, and also some safety considerations. So that's it for me. Thank you.
How's it going? I'm Brian Kaes. I'm going to be talking about some of the equipment used in speed shoring, trench boxes, and slide rail systems. Some of the equipment used, obviously, you're going to use excavators. These are used for digging the trenches themselves, as well as placing the shoring or the trench boxes into position and moving them. Cranes or other lifting equipment would be necessary depending on the depth and the weight of the equipment you're trying to set in there, especially if it's a lot deeper of an excavation, because that'll be a lot harder for the excavator to reach. Compactors to improve the soil characteristics and traits on the outside, and vibratory hammers. Sometimes these systems are accompanied by sheet piles or other piles, depending on the soil type. Some pros and cons. For speed shoring, it's quick to install. It's versatile. You can use it on a lot of different size and shape trenches, and it's safe. Some of the cons: it's expensive. You have to have regular maintenance, and it's not the best for deep excavations. Pros and cons of shoring shields and trench boxes. Some of the pros is it's durable. Just like speed shoring, it's very versatile too. It's often made out of steel or aluminum, so it's a lot stronger. It's easy to use. Some of the cons: it's heavy. If you're installing a bunch of it for a large trench, you're going to need larger equipment to set it. Storing it's hard too, because they're usually pretty large. And the mobility, they're kind of hard to move. I don't know if you've seen them move in a trench, but it's they don't rotate or move the best. And slide rail systems. The pros are they're very safe. They're compatible at very deep depths, and they're very versatile. Some cons is it takes a I think it takes a qualified person to install them. They're expensive, and they take quite a while to install correctly. And for safety considerations, obviously, if you're setting in trench boxes, you're going to want to know your load limits and your pick points. And at our job site, they require you to have a lift plan if you're setting it with an excavator. soil analysis. What kind of soil are you in? You want to know that you have the right system for the right soil types. Make sure it's installed properly. If it's not up to the engineer or manufacturer standards, it could fail, and you definitely don't want that in a trench. Access and egress, allow multiple, one or two points of exit or entry to each of these trench boxes. You don't want workers getting stuck down there. And paying attention to the weather types and what's going on. If it's real rainy, you might not want to stick guys down in a hole like that, especially if there's seepage or something coming in under that. But that's pretty much all we got. Thank you for watching our video.